Welcome back, YouTubers. Here is our wallet. So it looks like here, get a little adjustment here. Make sure we can see everything. Kind of move things around a little bit. So now what we're going to do is we're going to prep all of our edges. So in here what we want to do is we want to take some sandpaper and lightly brush these edges. I'm just going to brush these edges here real lightly. And normally I do this over like a little trash can, but so that I can keep everything right here in the video's view without moving the camera around a ton. I'm just going to leave it like this and just sand right here. So we're using a 400 grit, okay? And this is just one of the tools that I will tell you where I get this in my build along videos or my teaching videos. It's going to teach you everything you need to know, 101 of how to start a leather business, how to do leather from the ground up, from a beginner leather level and take you to where you're doing, at least doing wallets and maybe some bags on your own. And then you can take that knowledge and explore other parts of the leather business. And there's all kinds of parts of the leather business that you can get into. You can get into bag making, you can get into little key fob, little component. You can also do that as well as doing wallets, you know, wherever you think your customer base is going to be. And I can tell you that there's a lot of different base, and depends on what you're charging and what your quality is. So the best thing you want to do is get your quality up as high as possible. That's one of the things I did when I started. I wanted to make sure that my quality was as high as possible, and I wanted to be the best of the best always, you know. And then price would always, you know, dictate itself. And you know, I always priced myself right in between everybody else. I mean, you got to look at everybody else, what they're, you know, what they're getting for things, but you know, there's ways you can price your leather, and that's going to be the price of your labor plus parts. That's really what it amounts to. And so depending on where you get your parts, how much you pay for your parts, how much you mark those parts up, what you want to pay yourself is labor. And then of course you're going to pay taxes on all that. And then you shake that all up in a bag, and that's going to be what's going to drive your prices. And then sometimes you're just going to have to, the way I did it is I started off building wallets I was wanting to get into bags, is what I was originally wanting to get into, because I really was fascinated with bags. But then I got into hand making, hand sewing. I really enjoyed hand sewing. But if you've ever hand sewn a bag, it takes about 80 hours or more to do a bag. It takes a while, and your hands get pretty cramped up. And my problem is I have osteoarthritis, and so when I'm doing that much stitching, it really takes a toll on my hands. So yes, I could use a sewing machine, but like I said, I'm going to teach you what the difference between a sewing machine and hand sewing does. But the main difference is that if you have a thread like you find on your clothes from time to time, and you find that you have a thread in your clothes that's hanging out, if you've ever pulled on it and it pulled the whole thread out, and then it de-threaded whatever the stitching was made for and pulled it all the way out, that's what you get with machine stitching. But with the hand saddle stitching, that doesn't happen. So if your stitching gets frayed, you have a piece sticking out, you can't pull it like that. You can't pull it and pull it out. It won't come out, because the thread is on either side is going to lock that in. It's a lock stitch. And the only way to take care of something like that is to take like a lighter, or in my case, instead of using lighters, because a lot of leather makers will use lighters, I like using this what they call a thread zapper. It's much cleaner. It zaps it. You don't take a chance on singeing your leather. Whereas I know a lot of times when they use a lighter, yeah, they can kind of get good enough, and it doesn't, but at the end of the day, it does singe your leather somewhat. And when you singe it on the grain side, that's always going to show, and it's going to look tarnished, and I just don't like that. So you could take a thread zapper and melt that piece of thread down, and then as long as it doesn't bug you that the thread's missing, it's not a big deal. Now if it takes 2 or 3 sections of thread out, that's when your customer will need to send that in and have you repair it. And I'll show you how to do those too. Those are easy to repair on a saddle stitch, and you can repair it, send it right back out, or you can totally restitch it. And you can also give your customer the option to change their stitching color when you restitch it. And I'll show you how you can take all your stitching out and restitch it, and it makes it really nice and easy. But if you do a machine stitching, you're not going to take that stitching out as easy. Those pieces are going to come undone much easier. But on the hand stitching, it's going to last a lot longer. So anyway, back to things at hand here. You can see that we're rounding out these corners. You saw some of the corners that had the little points on them, and they weren't completely rounded. And now we've taken our 400 grit sandpaper. We just go around those corners and make them almost perfectly round. And then we're going to, as we put these together, we're going to sand them again with everything sandwiched together and see how it all comes out, and then resand it again. Okay? So on these here, there's not much to do on these, especially since we did a pretty good freehand style job on these. Just sand that down like so. And you can see we just, and we could sand this side and the bottom and that side, but to be honest with you, that piece is not going to ever be seen. So really all you need to do is to sand this underneath side a little bit. It's going to be butting up against the next leather, so you can kind of sand that a little bit. Make that a little straight. Sand the external, the top, and that's pretty much all you need to sand on these pieces. And so as time goes on and you make more and more and more of these type of wallets and things like that, you'll see what needs to be sanded, how much you need to take off, what makes a difference, what doesn't, what's going to be seen and what's not going to be seen. So in this case, we've got a little piece right there. It looks like a little nick. And so I'm going to look at this, and it looks like that little hole there, as you can see that, may be seen a little bit. So we're going to take our blade, and we're going to ever so gently cut that off. And we're going to cut that off from there, because it didn't look like it was a straight cut. This leather that I'm using, this Wolverine, it's a hard leather to cut because it's a soft leather. It's what they call a veg tan, chrome tan. And I'm going to teach you guys all about what a veg tan, what a chrome tan is, how it makes a difference. But for the sake of this video, chrome tan is a soft tannage on the leather that makes it very soft. And that's what you use to make a lot of high-end things and jackets, purses, things like that. When you get into computer bags and things that need to be a little more durable, you're going to use more of a veg tan, which is more what our external is made out of. So there's our internal pieces. They're pretty much done. So on this one here, we're going to go ahead and Sand the outside of this. It's not going to take a lot because we got a pretty clean cut on that. You can see the cleaner the cut, the less we've got to really sand. And so all we want to do is just kind of go over it and smooth it like so. Like a so. There we go. Okay. And on this guy here, we'll use our flat part of our block. Give it a nice little sand. Yep, it's not going to take a lot. Get him straight. You can see as we're moving across there, you can see there's no holes or any air gaps in there, so you know that's a pretty straight piece. So that's a good way to check your work too, is to run that up and down real slow and see if it's leaving any air gaps. If it was real crooked, or if this is angled, when you put that up there, it would show, you know, it would be out or in, or it would show, you know, like a hump here and a hump there, and it would show air in the middle. So, and that's going to happen. You're going to have that when you first start out in your leather pieces. This looks easy, but I can assure you it's sometimes looks easier than it is. And sometimes I've cut a wallet out and been spot on first time, and other times I haven't. And it just depends on how things go. Every wallet is different. That's what makes handmade leather items so unique and so wanted. That's why aficionados, that's why they crave handmade, hand-stitched leather products, because there's no two products that are the same. They kind of have a signature on them because they are different, and they make it theirs, and that they know that anybody else, because you're not going to be able to create or make a wallet identical to the one you made before. You're going to have differences in cuts, in the grain of the leather. You're going to have different mistakes. And you're going to have a mistake in every single wallet that you make. Whether it's seen or not, you're going to have mistakes. The key is to have those mistakes not be seen or noticed as much. But you're going to have fewer mistakes in handmade leather than you are machine leather. Machine leather is going to have, and has, lots of mistakes, especially in their stitching. And that's why they only last a short period of time. Plus they try to use a real thin leather because they want to make everything cheap and not inexpensive. There's a difference between cheap and inexpensive. Inexpensive is where you can take something that could be quality and you're using quality products for, and you're doing it in such a way, or you're only charging a certain percentage, and so it makes it inexpensive. Whereas cheap is just a low, inferior quality that, yeah, it's going to be cheap. It's going to be very inexpensive price-wise, but it's also going to be cheap. It's not going to last very long. You're going to be buying another one in a few months, but some people don't care about that. I call that the Walmart mentality. I don't know if I can use that name in here. I scratch that from the record. So any route is we go down through here, we want to make our products the best quality and as inexpensive as we possibly can. That way our customers are getting the best product for the price, right? That's what you want. You want that. You want to get the best quality products at the best price. And then they'll always have a customer for life. I have a lot of customers that always come back to buy my products. I've had customers buy 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 wallets. And they can't wait for the next new one to come out because they're just excited about seeing what the next one's going to look like. And that's a good feeling to have, you know? For them, for you. It makes it fun. That's what this craft is always about, is having fun. If you can't have fun, so there we go. So that piece is pretty much done for now. What we're trying to do here is we're not trying to, and you can see the difference in the sanding. You hear the difference in the sanding. What we're trying to do here is we're not trying to get this perfect. We're trying to get this fairly shaped so that the pieces can go together. And then once we get the pieces together overall, what we will do is we will come back once we put everything together, and we will do another sand job, and we will make it better, and we will get it more well-rounded or perfect. No pun intended. So there we go. Just kind of get these corners shaped and get this corner shaped. So there's our sanding. Let's see how many minutes we've got on our video. Looks like we got 24 minutes on it, so we're gonna stop this video here. And we're gonna come back on the next one. And the next one is going to be to take our freshly sanded wallet, and we are going to burnish the edges, which that's where we're going to put some tokonol, which is a leather finish, and we're going to take our wood slicker. That's another thing that I forgot to put in the video, is a wood slicker. I'll show you that here in the next video. A wood slicker, and burnish this down, and what that's going to do is it's going to seal the edges, seal the fibers, keeps the dust, dirt, water from getting in there, make it shine, make it look like it has a edge to it, and make it look not raw. So we'll stop here, and I'll be back in just a moment to start the next phase 4. See you in a minute.